friends, we are going to do another fun sight reading exercise. So I want you to look at this exercise and you will see again, Sight Reading Factory does 8 measure patterns. So first thing I want you to do to remind you about when you're sight reading for the first time, that means you're actually seeing a rhythm or a piece of music for the first time. That's the concrete definition of sight reading. So, you have to know what you're doing. So what you want to do is you want to see if you find any repeated patterns in the song or exercise. So that's what I always do. I always look for similar patterns. So let's look at the top line. It's pretty straightforward. And then the bottom line to compare it to any of the measures on the top line. And I am not seeing any repeated patterns in this piece. So that's kind of fun because it makes it a little bit more exciting, but a little bit more difficult also. So there's that. All right, so you are going to look at this now that you've seen it for several seconds. And let's remember that the time signature is 4/4. And I don't know if you can see my cursor, but anyway, so there's the first note. They're all quarter notes. And then the second measure, we have that quarter rest there. So that's a silent beat. You remember that, I know. And then we have the 2 eighth notes here and the quarter note here, followed by eighth notes, 2 eighth notes, quarter, 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 quarter rest, quarter note, quarter rest. So let's just do the top line. Let's just go for it and see what happens. So we're going to clap and count to 4. Let me demonstrate just in case you forgot how we did it the last time. So I'm going to demonstrate. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 3. And I forgot. Go ahead and mouth the number beat of the rest. Mouth the number beat of the quarter rest. It's just helpful for that. All right, so let's try it again and do it with me this time. 1, 2, clap with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. How'd you do? Awesome. All right, look at the bottom line. Again, pretty basic, self-explanatory. Quarter notes, eighth notes, and a quarter rest. So let's just dive right in. That's what sight reading is all about, and see how you do. Do it with me this time. I'm not even going to give it to you. You do it with me. Everybody get your clappers ready. Here we go. 1, 2, bottom line. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1 and 2, 3. Awesome. Hopefully you got it perfect. Good job. Woo, woo, woo. All right, so now I'm going to show you what I mean by putting the counts or the numbers under each measure, because when you're counting music, we're only counting to 4 because time signature tells us that there's only 4 beats per measure. But how do you actually write that? And it's very difficult to show because I have to use a mouse to actually put the notes in, the numbers in, sorry. So I'm going to queue up another screen here. Let's see what happens when I do that. I might disappear, but that's fine. You don't need to see me. And hopefully you see this screen though. And you can see how I wrote the numbers. Now, bear in mind that I wrote the numbers with a mouse. So if you look at number 1 here, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. And see how this number 1 is in parentheses? That's because it's a rest. So you still have to count it, but you just don't hear it because it's a silent beat. But you still have to count it. So you put it in parentheses to remind you that it's a silent beat. And then you have the 2 and for the eighth notes, the 3's the quarter note, 4 and. To say 4 and, we write 4 and a plus sign. And then again, you have 2 sets of eighth notes. So 1 and 2 and. On beat 3, you write a 3 underneath. On beat 4, you write a 4 underneath. Here you have 1, 2 in parentheses because again, it's a rest, but we still have to count it. And then 3, And then 4 is in parentheses again because it's a quarter rest and we still have to count it even though it's silent. All right, moving down to the second line. Again, we have beat 1, so we wrote the 1 underneath. We have 2 and, so we wrote 2 plus, 3, 4. So you would say 1, 2, and 3, 4. Then again, when we have a quarter rest, we put the 1 in parentheses, and then the quarter note, that's beat 2, so we write a 2 under it. The eighth notes are beat 3 and, so it's half a beat each, so that we write it 3 with a plus sign. And then the fourth note is the number 4. And then we do that for the next measure. We have 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1 and 2, 3, and notice that 4 is in parentheses again because it's a quarter rest. So I just want you to know how I would actually write the counts under each measure, because that's important when we're counting music. Whether you're clapping it or playing an instrument, you always have to have a steady beat in your head, regardless of, like I said, if it's a rhythm pattern you're clapping or if it's a piece of music that you're playing with an instrument. Same thing. So I'm going to minimize this again. There we go. And now I'm going to let you hear it through Sight Reading Factory. So just listen. This is how this pattern that you see is played. There's the tempo. And that's it. So let's clap that whole thing, and then we'll move on to the next button. Yay! All right, here we go. 1, 2, together. We're doing the whole thing. 1, 2, we got this. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, 3. Yay! Good job. All right, so I get to hit the next button. Whoop, whoop. Okay, now let's look at this one. And you can see that there's let's look. Are we looking for repeated patterns and any measures that are similar or exactly the same? And I don't see any of those. So, good to go. So this is your sight reading. You're getting a few seconds right now to look at it. So look at it. I'm going to pause the video so I could write the counts in and see if it matches what you would do or how you would write the counts in. All right, so hold that thought for 1 second. So, getting back, let's think about how we would count the top line, okay? So it would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, and 2, and 3. Okay? So you would have to write the counts in, and you would write a 1, a 2, a 3, plus sign, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. Does anyone remember why we count to 4? If you said because of the time signature, good job. We always refer back to the time signature, which is right here. And as you can see, the top number is 4, which means that we have to have 4 beats per measure. That's just how it is. All right, let's clap it with the counts, okay? 1, 2, clap with me. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, and 2, and 3. Awesome. Let's do the bottom line. Remember, sight reading is actually seeing a piece of music for the first time. So you don't really go over it. You just go for it. You get a few seconds to look at it. And if you were playing an instrument and you had an audition for like a district band, then you go to a sight reading room, which I did many times in my life. And they give you, like, let's say 20 to 30 seconds, depending on the difficulty of the piece. And basically they expect you to play it on the spot. So it's a little scary, but you get used to it because it's like anything else. The more you practice it, the better you get. All right, so we're just going to go right into it. Bottom line, here we go. 1, 2, clap and count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 3. Good job, guys. All right, let's listen to it, and then I'll show you the counts. Awesome. All right, so let's see again. If I cue this up, remember, I'll go away, which is probably a good thing. I don't know. And hopefully you can see this screen. If not, I'll have to redo the whole PowerPoint, but that's all right. And I wrote the counts in. So you see a 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. And remember, the 4 here is in parentheses because it still counts. You must count it, but it's a silent beat. So it still goes on and you still have to count it, but you just don't play it. And the bottom line, we have 1, 2, very straightforward. 3, 4, 1, 2 in parentheses. It's a rest. 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2 in parentheses. 3, 4 in parentheses. All right, so if you knew what to do, you are on fire. Good job. And yeah, and I would definitely hope that you guys can understand that it's basically super easy counting, especially when you're only dealing with quarter notes and eighth notes. You don't have a lot to worry about. So let's hit the next button. And again, it looks pretty straightforward, nothing crazy. I don't see any repeated patterns, which is kind of strange because usually there are. So it's kind of funny. Do you see it? No. All right, let's just dive right in. Top line only. Here we go. 1, 2, count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, and 4. 2 and 3. 2, 3, 4, and 1. 3, 4, and 1. 2 and 3. 4, 1 and 2 and 3. Wow, that one was a little trickier. Why? Well, I'll tell you. Anytime you have a rest here for beginning instrumentalists or music students, that throws you off because it's very difficult for a young musician to rest on beat 1. Sometimes it's difficult for adults to rest on beat 1 because your instinct wants you to play something. So that was tricky. So if you actually got it, thumbs up again. You guys are rock stars. Let's listen to it. Very good. All right, so this concludes this little session on sight reading. Obviously, we're going to get a little bit harder each week, but for right now, I think you guys are doing an awesome job. Let me know if it's too hard or if you're ready to move on. You can always let me know in our discussion board, or just tell your teacher to shoot me an email, or you guys can email me at swinckler@hcps.us. Have a great day.